Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're deep in the wilderness for another intense survival adventure. In this video, I'm going to build a primitive survival shelter completely from natural materials while escaping from a dangerous wild boar roaming through the forest. The weather is changing fast, night is coming, and I need a safe place to survive before darkness takes over. If you enjoy survival skills, bushcraft, shelter building, and realistic wilderness adventures, make sure you stay with me until the end because this journey is going to be challenging, exciting, and full of unexpected moments. As I move carefully through the dense forest, you can already hear the sounds of nature surrounding me. The wind pushes through the trees, insects buzz in every direction, and somewhere in the distance, the heavy footsteps of a wild boar echo through the woods. Wild boars are extremely dangerous animals. They are fast, aggressive, and unpredictable, especially when they feel threatened. In a real survival situation, staying calm and finding protection quickly can mean the difference between safety and disaster. Today, my mission is simple but difficult. I must find a hidden location deep inside the forest and build a primitive survival shelter strong enough to protect me from rain, cold weather, and wild animals. I have only basic tools, natural materials, and my survival experience to rely on. Everything you see in this video will be built using traditional bushcraft techniques and materials gathered directly from the environment around me. The first step is searching for the perfect location. In survival situations, choosing the right place for a shelter is extremely important. The ground must be dry and elevated to avoid flooding if rain comes during the night. The area should also be hidden enough to stay protected from animals while still providing access to wood, water, and natural resources. As I move quietly between the trees, I keep checking for animal tracks, broken branches, and signs of movement nearby. Every sound matters in the wilderness. After walking for some time, I finally discover a hidden area surrounded by thick trees and fallen logs. This place looks promising. The dense vegetation provides natural camouflage, and there is enough space to build a strong primitive shelter. But before starting construction, I need to secure the area. I gather long branches and create a simple barrier around the camp to make it harder for animals to approach unnoticed. In survival, small precautions can save your life. Now the real work begins. I start by collecting strong wooden poles to create the shelter frame. Thick branches will become the main support structure, while smaller flexible sticks will form the walls and roof. Building a primitive shelter takes patience, energy, and careful planning. Every branch must be placed correctly to make the structure stable enough to survive wind and heavy rain. The forest around me is full of useful materials. Dead fallen wood provides strong dry branches. Large leaves can help waterproof the roof, and vines can be used like rope to tie everything together. Primitive survival is about understanding nature and using what the environment gives you. No modern equipment, no electricity, no machines, only skill, determination, and instinct. As the shelter slowly takes shape, the atmosphere in the forest becomes more intense. The sun begins to lower behind the trees, shadows grow longer, and the sounds of wildlife become louder. Suddenly, I hear movement somewhere nearby. Large footsteps crush dry leaves in the distance. The wild boar may still be close. I stop working for a moment and listen carefully. In the wilderness, awareness is one of the most important survival skills. I continue building while staying alert. The main frame of the shelter is now standing strong. Next, I begin weaving smaller branches across the sides to create walls. This technique not only strengthens the structure, but also helps trap warmth inside during the cold night. Primitive shelters are designed to use insulation from natural materials, making them surprisingly effective against harsh weather conditions. To waterproof the roof, I gather large leaves, bark, and layers of forest debris. Everything must overlap correctly so rainwater slides away instead of leaking inside. It takes time, but every layer improves protection. A good shelter is the foundation of survival. Without proper protection from wind and rain, even experienced survivors can quickly lose body heat and energy. As darkness approaches, the pressure increases. I still need firewood, a safe sleeping area, and a way to stay protected through the night. I begin collecting dry wood from under fallen trees because wood hidden off the ground usually stays dry even in wet conditions. Fire is essential for survival. It provides warmth, light, protection from animals, and a psychological sense of safety in the darkness of the wilderness. While searching for materials, I suddenly notice fresh tracks in the mud. Large hoof prints. The wild boar has definitely been nearby recently. The forest becomes silent for a moment, and even the wind feels heavier. Encounters with wild boars can be extremely dangerous because they charge quickly and use their sharp tusks to attack. Staying calm and avoiding confrontation is critical. I quickly return to the shelter area and focus on finishing the structure before nightfall. The entrance is made narrow to reduce exposure, and I stack extra branches around the outside to improve camouflage. From a distance, the shelter almost disappears into the forest. Primitive survival shelters often work best when they blend naturally into the environment. Finally, the structure is complete. It may look simple, but this shelter is built entirely from natural resources gathered by hand in the middle of the wilderness. Inside, there's enough space to stay dry, warm, and protected during the night. I prepare a bedding layer using leaves, moss, and soft forest materials to insulate my body from the cold ground. Even a small layer of insulation can make a huge difference in survival conditions. Now it's time to start fire. Using primitive fire starting techniques, I carefully prepare dry tinder, small sticks, and larger pieces of wood. Fire making in the wild is never easy, especially when the air becomes cold and damp in the evening. Every spark matters. Slowly, smoke begins to rise, and finally a small flame appears. The fire grows stronger, lighting up the dark forest around the shelter. The warm glow of the fire changes the atmosphere completely. Shadows dance across the trees while the sounds of insects and distant animals fill the night air. But even with the shelter complete, survival is far from over. The wild boar could still be somewhere nearby, moving silently through the darkness. As I sit beside the fire, I explain some important survival lessons for anyone watching this adventure. In a real wilderness emergency, shelter should always be one of your top priorities. Exposure to cold weather, rain, and wind can become life-threatening much faster than lack of food. Building even a simple primitive shelter can dramatically increase your chances of survival. Another key lesson is staying calm under pressure. Fear can cause bad decisions, especially when dangerous animals are nearby. The wilderness rewards patience, awareness, and preparation. Every movement should have a purpose, and every resource should be used wisely. Throughout this journey, you'll see how primitive survival skills connect humans back to nature. Long before modern technology existed, people survived using knowledge of the forest, natural materials, and practical instincts passed down through generations. Building shelters, starting fires, finding resources, and adapting to harsh environments are timeless survival skills that still matter today. Tonight, deep in the forest, surrounded by darkness and the sounds of wild animals, this primitive shelter becomes more than just a structure. It becomes safety, warmth, and hope in an unpredictable wilderness. Every branch, every leaf, and every piece of wood represents effort and survival. As the fire crackles beside me, I continue listening carefully to the forest around camp. Somewhere far away, I hear movement again. Maybe the wild boar is still searching through the trees. But for now, the shelter is strong, the fire is burning, and I am safe for the night. Thank you all for joining me on this primitive survival adventure. If you enjoy realistic bushcraft shelter building, wilderness survival, and intense forest challenges like this one, don't forget to support the channel and follow for more survival journeys in the wild. Tonight's adventure is only the beginning. There are many more hidden shelters, dangerous forests, and survival challenges waiting ahead. Now stay with me as we continue deeper into the wilderness, strengthen the shelter, prepare for the long night, and survive whatever the forest throws at us next.